Hey guys, welcome back for another episode of the I Don't Give a Care podcast. If you're new here today, then my name is Jessie, and I started this podcast because I want to talk about things that we're all afraid to talk about. And it's all about just being your authentic self and talking about things that we all care way too much about. And this is all about just not caring anymore and putting everything on the table. So if you're new here, thank you for joining me. And if you are coming back, thank you again for joining me for another episode. And it would mean the world to me if you would like, comment, subscribe, leave a review, all of that. It helps a lot. And yeah, this week was a lot better than last week, I would say, because, well, one, I went on a spontaneous concert adventure. So that was fun. I got to see Aries. The weather was actually very nice too. We had 15-degree weather yesterday and it was sunny. The sun was shining. I got to take my dogs on a nice long nature walk. So I'm really excited for spring, and hopefully spring comes quicker than it is because I need some spring and I need some sunshine. I'm so over the winter. Anyways, no more rambling. Let's get into this week's episode. This week's episode is all about lust culture and how lust culture is ultimately just ruining us as a society. And in today's society, with the rise of technology and social media and the internet, lust culture has gotten absolutely out of control. Lust culture is all about normalizing intense sexual desire and objectifying people, usually for their appearances. And it's all about instant gratification. When you think about drugs or you think about social media, it's all about getting that dopamine hit and instant gratification. And the lust culture kind of works the same way. And it basically comes down to never being happy with what you have or who you have, because you're always searching outside of yourself and who is already in your life. So lust culture is basically such a broad generalization. It's such a broad term. So I broke this down into a bunch of topics I want to cover because there's so much to talk about. And some of these I actually want to make whole separate episodes on, but I thought I could just group it all into one big episode about lust culture as a whole, because it is seriously damaging our relationships with each other, and it's damaging our self-esteem, it's damaging who we are as people, and our society as a whole. So the first topic I want to get into is how lust culture is ruining our relationships, and also microcheating is a huge factor of lust culture. Microcheating has always been a problem, I think, in relationships, but now more so than ever, social media and the internet have totally amplified that in more ways than you can imagine. Microcheating is pretty much just being disloyal, dishonest, and cheating in micro ways. And it doesn't come off as what looks like typical cheating to your average person. It could be emotional cheating. It could be hiding things from someone. It can be lying about things, little white lies. It could be omitting the truth. So basically that means just purposely keeping out information and telling other bits of information. For example, somebody saying, oh yeah, I went to this place over the weekend, but they left out the part where they ran into a certain person, So it's just leaving out important details that the person would want to know. We've seen a huge rise in microcheating over the past few years, and I think you guys all know one of the biggest ones is liking photos and stories on Instagram nowadays. This behavior has never sat right with me, and it really started bothering me when I was in a previous relationship and I would see that this person was following new people. And this was back when Instagram would show you somebody's activity, so you could see it for the whole world to see. So I would see they were following new people, they were liking people's photos. I also found out they were liking Visco pictures, which, if you guys remember Visco, that is a really intimate way to kind of send attention to someone. So that was really weird. And it wasn't necessarily that they were liking something that was bothering me. It was the stuff they were liking. And it was always girls in bikinis, pictures of girls looking all pretty and dolled up. And I was just okay, this looks really embarrassing for me because you're supposed to be with me and you're giving these other girls attention. And that's what it is at the end of the day, is microcheating is basically giving someone else that isn't your partner attention. I would say personally, liking someone's photos, liking somebody's stories in secret because your partner wouldn't know about it, liking their Visco pictures, if that's still a thing. Facebook, I remember this man that was married was liking my pictures on Facebook, and I was like, this is weird. You're in a whole ass marriage. Another thing I feel like a lot of people have seen, and this isn't necessarily microcheating, but it is kind of a red flag, especially if you're getting to know a person. A lot of women will check men's following. And if it's like a bunch of Instagram models or OnlyFans models or like girls that don't even follow them back, that's usually a red flag, because it's like, first of all, why are you following so many people and girls in the first place? Two, it comes off that they're like a lustful man, and nobody wants a lustful man, because if they're like that when they're single, and yes, I know they're single, they can do whatever they want, but it kind of just shows that they have no self-control. You know what I mean? And it goes both ways, obviously, but I'm just saying men seem to do it more. Seems to be a pattern with men and girls seeing their boyfriends do this. So that's why I'm kind of saying a lot of girls have started looking through men's following to kind of see, like, is this somebody I really want to be with or date? And then it's an even bigger problem if it is your boyfriend or somebody you're seeing, and you're like, whoa, this is a red flag. But it's kind of weird that we've normalized that it's normal to just follow a million people that don't even know you and just kind of lust over them. And this behavior is so embarrassing. Like, I think that's a reason why a lot of women hate this when they have a partner, is engaging in this kind of behavior, like lustful behavior, like giving other people attention, liking people's photos, following a million people, kind of like needing that validation. It's really embarrassing because people can see that you're doing this. Like, your name pops up if you like someone's half-naked picture or a bikini picture. Like, it pops up for the whole world to see. Or if you're like in somebody's likes or whatever, people feel bad for the person that you're with. They're like, wow, they're literally in a relationship or they're married and they're doing this. Like, that's so embarrassing. So it's not only embarrassing for the person you're in a relationship with, but also it comes off embarrassing to the whole world. Microcheating is basically just keeping the door open for all the other options. And it can also look like hiding things from your partner, just like simple little things, white lies, things that you don't think matter, even if it's innocent. And my question to that is, if it's so innocent and it doesn't matter and it's not a big deal, then why hide it in the first place? Why keep it from your partner? Just think about that. A few more things that are considered like microcheating in my eyes, and other people that I've seen them talk about, would be like appearing to look single online when you're clearly in a relationship. So that could look like someone just refusing to post that they're in a relationship. And obviously this looks different for everybody. Like, totally depends on your relationship. Totally depends on if this person even uses social media. It also depends on how private they are with their life. But if your partner or the person you're seeing or whatever is posting their entire life on social media and posts all the time and is pretty open about their life, but they won't post you, like when it comes to you, that's when they draw the line and that's when they're private, then it's kind of like, okay, that's a little bit weird. Why do you want to look single to the world when I thought we were together? So that's something to think about. Another obvious one would be using dating apps while you're seeing somebody or in a relationship with someone. That is a huge no-go, unless you're obviously in an open relationship. But I think it's common sense, like when you're with someone or seeing someone or dating someone, don't use dating apps. Like, what are you doing? You're literally like looking for other people. Like, that is cheating. That's point blank cheating in my eyes. Plus, you're not being slick about it. Like, people can find you on there and show that to your person. Another thing is keeping secret relationships or friendships away from your person. So if you're not telling them that you're friends with this person or you're hanging with this person or talking to them or whatever it looks like, that's kind of weird. It's like, why can't, if they're your friend, if they're really your friend, why can't you just be open about it? And obviously you can't control who someone hangs out with and talks to, but I mean, there also needs to be like respect. And that also leads me to like keeping like past partners, flings, exes in your life while you're with somebody. I think that's kind of weird, especially if you still regularly talk to them. It's like you guys had a very intimate relationship or whatever that looked like, and you're with someone new. I don't know, there's a lot of people out there that say, oh, I can be friends with an ex and keep past people that I hooked up with as my friends now and hang out with them. But there's a lot of people, though, that are different. Like, I know a lot of people that are still hanging out in the same friend group with people that they used to hook up with, and their new partner doesn't care. So I don't know, it's totally different on everyone, but personally, that's something that I don't like. And the last point I want to say about microcheating is wandering eyes. And you can really tell if somebody is a lustful person if they are always checking out people. Their eyes are just always wandering. And I see a lot of people talking about this all the time. Women will talk about this when they're like minding their own business, walking, and they see a man with his girlfriend or his wife and his kids sometimes literally checking you out in front of them. How disgusting is that? Like, you're walking past a couple and you see the man look at you up and down, checking you out, staring at you. That's so disgusting. Like, I'm sorry. That is just so sad. It's those people that have wandering eyes that just make you see how lustful everyone's become. Like, that's not normal to do. You should only have eyes for your person. Obviously, unless you guys are in an open relationship and you guys are okay with that. But I feel like a lot of women aren't okay with that from what I've seen. And again, this goes both ways. Like, women can do this to their man as well, or whatever relationship you're in. Checking out other people while you're with your person or while you're in a relationship in general is just kind of weird and icky. It's like, why are you doing that? And that makes you wonder, like, when you have these preferences of what you want in a relationship and what you expect out of a partner, is it controlling or is it about respect? And that is what we're going to dive into next. So you'll see a lot of people that are called out on this behavior, or people that just talk about their preferences in a relationship and on what they consider lustful behavior and micro-cheating and kind of just the standards that we have nowadays. When it comes to all of this behavior, people will call it controlling. They'll call this controlling if you don't want your man in every half-naked girl's Instagram likes. You don't want your husband checking out this new girl in the grocery store. Like, just things like that. But people will say that's controlling. What I think it comes down to is respect and open communication. And yes, it really is that deep. People are like, oh, it's just social media. It's just looking at somebody and glancing at somebody. It's just having a innocent friendship. If you've experienced this stuff before, you would know it is that deep. And it never is that innocent. It comes down to having those boundaries that you both can agree with, that you both feel comfortable with, and just respecting each other and those boundaries and not hiding anything from each other. Because, like I said, it totally depends on your relationship. Some couples are okay with checking out other people right in front of them. Some people have open relationships. Some people do not care at all about social media and they just think it's completely innocent. Some people are so okay with having all of their past hookups or exes or partners in their lives and they're all friends. But it is important that you guys talk about those things and have those boundaries, because the lines can get real blurry, and so can respect. And if you cross somebody's boundaries after they've told you, okay, I'm uncomfortable with you doing this and acting like this on social media, or looking at these people, or being friends with this person that I know doesn't just want to be your friend, and you completely ignore those concerns, you're not respecting them. You're not respecting your partner, and you're hiding things from them and you're keeping things from them. That's what it comes down to. You're showing a lack of respect for your person. And I think in this day and age, it's becoming more normal to voice these concerns before entering a relationship or while in a relationship, because obviously it's kind of awkward to bring some of this stuff up before you date someone. But it's like, you kind of need to make sure you're on the same page before you start dating someone, because they might not be okay with that. They might not want to change their behavior. You should look at their behavior and how they act before a relationship, because this behavior is kind of weird on single people too. It's become a thing now for women to look at men's following to see if they're following a million girls, to kind of test to see if, like, okay, is this guy a weirdo or is he like normal? Oh, they're following a million OnlyFans girls or half-naked Instagram models. Then they're probably a lustful man and they probably won't change in your relationship. A lot of men don't realize how disrespectful this behavior can be to someone that you're in a relationship with until the tables have turned on them. All of a sudden, someone's doing that same behavior that you're doing to other women, but they do it to your girlfriend. Then that's when they become like threatened and they realize, oh wow, like this does not feel good. This behavior is shitty and I can see what these other men are trying to do. Like I can see their intentions. So it just says a lot. And some people are willing to change their behavior and learn from it, but a lot of people aren't. A lot of them will play like the victim card. Oh, I'll just delete all my social media. I'll just never talk to anybody again. But I think they're missing the point. It's about having that open communication, having healthy boundaries, respecting your partner, and just not hiding things from them. Is that so hard when you're in a committed relationship? I don't think so. A lot of this behavior and this lust culture has been severely influenced by social media. Now in this world, we're all used to like objectifying ourselves and objectifying others and just kind of looking at people like they're a piece of meat. Everybody gets these dopamine rushes from likes and comments and who's looking at your photos, who's looking at your posts. We all have this illusion of like endless options that we don't want to settle. And we basically normalize seeing softcore porn on Instagram and social media. And not to mention the over editing of all these photos. It is so easy to edit your photos and videos now. Like it's actually insane. And that's what's really sad about this whole lust culture is that a lot of the people and photos that we're lusting over aren't real. Like it is so easy to edit your photos, to have perfect skin, put makeup on through a click of a button, edit your body, have bigger boobs, all these things. It's just so easy. Like you can even change your hair color and add more hair, volume, everything. People are not realizing how many things are fake on the internet now, and they're comparing these people, these fake people, to people in their real life, and none of these people are real. Some of them, sure, look like that, but not all of them. A lot of them don't. Another big topic I want to talk about that comes from lust culture is just hookup culture, and hookup culture has really taken over. And not to sound so old school, but I really think like in our day and age, like dating has kind of become foreign now to a lot of people. Everybody kind of just hooks up with people. Casual sex has just become way too normalized, and it's also becoming dangerous because people are not looking out for themselves and for other people. A lot of people are letting their sexual health and their safety slide for hookup culture now. They're not respecting themselves, their bodies, or other people. And we're normalizing one-night stands with people we barely know that you probably wouldn't even talk to outside of that. And I won't say that they're all bad and like you should shame people for having hookups or doing that. Just looking at it from the view of our society as a whole, that more and more people are opting out of meaningful relationships and casually hooking up with people and having meaningless hookups that end up hurting them more in the end. And years ago, being with someone in that way used to be seen as like a sacred and spiritual kind of connection with someone, and it would create a bond. And I think people have forgotten that you're kind of transferring your energy to different people every time you hook up with someone new. And it is an energy transfer at the end of the day. And that's why a lot of people will talk about how you can literally have somebody's negative energy linger with you after a hookup with someone that you barely knew or barely liked. Hookup culture has also normalized situationships, flings, talking stages, and friends with benefits more than ever. Not that these are bad, but I do think it comes to a point when you're basically acting like a relationship. But nowadays, people don't want to put a label on that because they're scared of commitment and they're scared of kind of shutting the door on all of the other options out there. People just keep getting themselves into situationships that they don't even want to be in. Usually one person wants to be in the relationship and the other person is not ready to commit or doesn't even want to be with that person, and they're waiting for something better to come along. And it's just so messy, and it's really sad that we've come to this. Usually in situationships, it's tricky because most people aren't loyal during these talking stages. Men used to yearn for women back in the day, and people used to actually still go out on dates, and it would be romantic, and there would be romance, and all the cute things that you would see in the movies. But it's not like that anymore. Everyone is just giving their energy away to people so easily, and they're not telling people what they actually want. And then you have dating apps, which are just endless swiping and dopamine rushes, and it's absolutely crazy out there. I mentioned that hookup culture can be dangerous, and the reason I say that is because people aren't disclosing that they've had any testing done. I don't know why, I don't know how, but people aren't talking about that. I think it was looked at as a little bit taboo to kind of disclose that information before like casually hooking up with someone or seeing someone. And I'm hoping that it's getting more normalized now, because that's very concerning. People just sleeping around with people and not getting tested or kind of disclosing to people if you've been tested. A lot of men out there too don't think that they need to wear protection or use anything like that, because I don't know why. Like, a lot of men don't think that they need to. It kind of puts the responsibility on a lot of women out there. Yeah, it's just becoming dangerous as a whole. People aren't treating their bodies with respect. They're not treating other people's bodies with respect. They're not taking the safe measures to have this fun that they're having. So it's one thing if you want to go do all of that, that's totally fine, but you need to be safe doing so. You can't just go around sleeping with everyone but not getting tested, not wearing protection. Like, that's not safe, and that's not safe for other people. And there's a lot of liars out there too, so make sure. And with dating apps now, we've stopped meeting people naturally, and it makes it really hard to meet someone that's genuine, who actually wants a relationship. And as a result, more women are being single now because they're realizing, you know what? It's easier to be single. It's less of a headache to be single, and it's more convenient to be single at this point now. And that's where we're seeing the male loneliness epidemic starting to happen, because a lot of women are just realizing it's not worth it anymore. Like, they're not getting courted anymore. They're not being taken out on dates. They're being lied to. They're being played by a million people. And with all these dating apps, you also have all these Facebook groups now being made called "Are We Dating the Same Guy?" or "Are We Dating the Same Girl?" And honestly, we need these groups nowadays. Like, I'm sorry, there's way too many freaks out there that need to be exposed. And these groups are basically exposing people for their toxic behavior, if they're cheaters, if they have whole other families on the side, if they're actually dangerous and abusive. These groups have been lifesavers for people, and I think they are so needed. Similar to what I was talking about with social media, that was really influencing our lustful culture nowadays. Now you got a huge rise in the porn industry and OnlyFans content. And this has totally brought lust culture to a whole other level. A lot of people have different views on porn and OnlyFans content, but a lot of people also are starting to view it as disrespectful to their partner and also cheating in a way. Like I said, it totally depends on your relationship, but if somebody is secretly watching this content all the time, it can be harmful to your relationship. And it can be harmful to your perception of yourself and how you view your partner and your relationship. I would also say that porn and OnlyFans content gives a negative portrayal of women. And obviously, people have the right to do with whatever they want with their body, and it is also empowering for a lot of women. But that's not to say that there isn't a lot of content out there that's been created by men, and it portrays women in a really harmful way to society. And it's why we have all these stereotypes and objectification of women nowadays. Like, you look at careers that have just been sexualized, like being a teacher or being a nurse or being a secretary. All these things have been sexualized, or saying mommy or daddy, like that has been sexualized now, or having stepsister, stepbrother, step-parent. All of these things have been over-sexualized because of porn, because of all of that. And this content also normalizes pedophilia and men looking at younger girls and women, and it makes you wonder, why are so many men comfortable with liking teenagers or thinking young girls are hot? Like, it's weird. It is so weird, but it's because of this content that's constantly being pushed in our faces and that people are watching. And I don't think a lot of people realize that consuming this content can quickly lead to an addiction, just like drugs, just like gambling, Just like anything, your mind can become addicted to the dopamine rush that you get from looking at this content. And it's been proven through many articles that porn and consuming this content over time can shrink and warp your brain and just how you view the world, how you view women, how you view your relationship, your partner. It completely changes your view on all of those things. It makes you have a negative view on that and these other expectations. It ultimately desensitizes people of what normal bodies look like, what normal relationships look like, what normal intimacy looks like. It desensitizes people and makes them okay with things that they weren't even okay with before, looking into kinks that they weren't even into before. Normalizing pedophilia, like I said. This behavior and this addiction can lead to lots of feelings of shame, isolation, and guilt too. So if somebody is watching this stuff on a regular basis, it can totally affect your relationship if you're in one, or the relationship with yourself. And you'll hear that through a lot of this episode. I'm talking about how men are very lustful. They're usually the culprits of acting kind of lustful on social media or consuming porn content or OnlyFans content. And I think there's a reason for this. A lot of us, and men in particular, are being targeted by this content and by this lust culture. They're almost being trained into thinking like, this is what I should be looking for, this is what I should be consuming. So many men I know have said that they don't look at this content and it will just pop up for them. Like they don't even watch that and it will just pop up on their feed. Half naked girl, half naked content, just stuff that they don't normally consume. And it makes you wonder why. Why is this being pushed to so many of us, and especially men? And I think there is a reason for it. I think it's because sex sells. Like at the end of the day, sex sells. This content sells. Look at how many people have gotten careers out of creating OnlyFans content and porn content. And honestly, I don't blame them, because if there's a market for it, then why wouldn't they? You know what I mean? And it just continues the cycle. And it's sad because if there's men watching this content, or people in general consuming this content and lusting over it all the time, instead of having the control to not consume so much of this harmful content and objectifying people and treating them like they're actually human, then there wouldn't be a need for people to want to make this content. You know what I mean? There wouldn't be such a market for it. I do understand why so many women are kind of taking back their power and trying to empower themselves through creating this content or posting these photos on Instagram or social media, because why not? I mean, if they can get paid for it, if people are going to watch it anyways, people are going to consume it anyways, why not? You might as well, right? But I just think as a society, we have become way too lustful. We are objectifying people too much. We are looking at people as objects rather than humans. And we are not respecting each other. We're not respecting ourselves. And we're not respecting our relationships. So I think it's time, like, something's gotta give. And obviously, people are all on their own separate journey and have their own separate boundaries and what they think is healthy in a relationship. I just don't think this lust culture should be so normalized, and hookup culture should be so normalized, and just being so irresponsible with how we kind of treat our bodies and other people in the process. I don't know. This is kind of a touchy subject, I would say. So I know there's going to be a lot of different opinions out there. If you have a different opinion, I'm so open to hearing about it. I've seen so many different takes on this over the past few years, especially as this conversation keeps growing and social media and the internet keeps growing. I keep seeing new hot takes on this, and I'm a very open-minded person. I change my mind and opinions all the time, but this is kind of just where I've been sitting at recently, and I have kind of felt this way for many years now. It's always just sat wrong with me with how lustful our society is, and just men too. Men can be just dogs. Like, men are dogs, okay? And that's not to say this is not a I hate men episode. Obviously not, because women can be guilty of this too. I've seen women do this, just be disloyal or lying or hiding things from their partner, liking men's half-naked photos too. But I will say there is a huge pattern with men. So you might be wondering, what is the solution for this? And there really is no solution. I mean, everybody's on their own journey. You kind of just have to have your own self-control, your own morals, your own respect, and also respect for the people in your life, whether you're in a relationship or you're not. Just kind of having respect for yourself and just seeing that like this lustful culture is doing more harm than good for us as a society. We can convince ourselves that it's fun or empowering or just being young and silly all we want, but at the end of the day, it is kind of harmful and is creating these really harmful mindsets and beliefs and portrayals of people. And I really don't think this lust culture will ever go away as long as social media and the internet is around. So it does really come down to each individual person on how they want to treat their body and their mind and what they consume and how they're consuming it. And yeah, it really just comes down to that. And obviously to each their own. If people are totally comfortable with consuming that stuff all the time and they don't feel that it's harming them in any way, then you do you. But I will say, like, it does have a negative association with it. Whether you think so or not, it does, and it comes off that way to a lot of other people too. I don't really know what else to say about this topic. I think I covered mostly everything I want to talk about. I hope you guys like what we talked about today and maybe resonated with some of you. I know it definitely resonated for me and so many other people out there I see talking about this stuff, and I really just want to give my 2 cents on this. I really hope our society will just kind of move away from this lust culture someday, but you can only hope, one can only dream, and we'll leave it at that for now. Anyways, thank you so much for watching and for joining me for another episode. If you're new here, my name's Jessie again, so thank you for joining me today, and I really hope you liked it, and I hope you join me for another episode next week because I don't know what we're talking about yet, but it will be good. It will be juicy. And on Wednesdays, we don't give a care. Bye!